All right, so marketing yourself and your game, presented by yours truly. So, um, marketing. What the heck is marketing? Yeah, to keep it simple, marketing is basically how you get people interested in your games. Um, More interest, more players, more money. It's pretty simple. Marketing, it's a tough uphill battle. You're When you're starting from square one, it's not going to be easy getting people interested in what you're working on. So definitely knowing the ins and outs of what you got to do to get people interested definitely helps out. Spreading the word is marketing. No, marketing isn't just using money. Marketing is just letting people know that your game exists, because money is a result of marketing. So, getting your game out there, letting people know, like, hey, this exists, buy my game. That's how you get money from it. So, how to market your game? There are like hundreds and hundreds of different ways that you can market your. I'm going to be looking at 4 different ways that you can start out with, especially if you're, starting out. First thing is showing people what you're working on. It's pretty simple. You're working on something, you're gonna be wanting to show people what the progress of your game is. If you're working on early prototypes, definitely want to get people to see stuff so that I can go into more detail with that later. Having people in play / test your game, that by itself is a form of marketing. Like, the more people you get to play your game, the more people that will play your game. They'll more talk about it and stuff like that. So that is a form of doing it. Making a trailer, that's a pretty big one. Basically, just showing off, what your game is and whatnot, and staying in touch with your fan base. I'll get more into that later. But basically, the core of marketing your game is just telling people what it is and what makes it special. In a way, yeah, having other people play your game is a way to have players market the game for them. Educate how people knew it exists. I remember seeing stuff like a while back that was like, "Hey, Apex Legends is a thing." Yeah, it's marketed as free to play. Yeah, marketing your game as free to play. That is helping with having more people play your game. So people don't want to spend lots of money or any money on a game. Like, free games are, hey, free video game. A lot of games, like a lot of mobile games I know do that. I know that Team Fortress 2 does that too, where they have more people play it, and then they have like an in-store or whatever thing. So yeah. Showing people what you're working on. The biggest thing that I see with a lot of small indie devs is just showing people, like, just posting whatever stuff that they're working on to social media. Biggest ones are probably like Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, and whatnot. But just, if you're working on something cool and you're like, hey, I want people to see it, just like record like a GIF, or like a video, just, you playing your game, and then you just post it somewhere and people are like, hey, this is good, or hey, this sucks. And that will rake in some attention from that stuff. Keep updates short and sweet. I would say, when you're showing your stuff off, don't over explain like what you're doing. Like, just don't be like, oh, this is whatever, this is exactly what I'm doing, here's the process behind it. Just be like, hey, this is my thing, here's what's going on. And just have that be like a description somewhere else if they want to learn more about it. But don't like prioritize like the stuff that's behind it. Just keep it nice and sweet so that you're not taking up too much of their time. Market to your target audience, not just other devs. I see that happen with a lot of people. Yeah, where some people, when you're first starting out, you're not going to be able to market towards the audience you're intending to market towards. Especially when you're starting out, because you don't really have like that big of a following, so you kind of don't really have much of an option other to market to other game developers. And as you get bigger and bigger, then you can start going towards more of a general audience. I don't know if anybody here has social media that they post stuff to. If you don't, I would highly suggest making one like after this meeting or right now. Yeah, please make like a Twitter account and like just that's like probably the best way for you to start. Yeah, don't post to Facebook, or you could, just it's not like the optimal strategy. Yeah, Twitter is really big. Reddit's pretty big. I see a lot of like things like r/indie games or indie dev or pixel art. See stuff on there. Riley posted something on YouTube, which was kind of like a devlog thing. That's pretty good too. So having like a devlog and like explaining like your thought process behind working with something. Yeah, you can't. It doesn't really have like a lot of formatting stuff, but stuff like Twitter and YouTube are pretty easy. Like sharing stuff to Discords, it's a lot easier too. Alrighty. Have people play / test your game. Yeah, when your game is at a point where you can have other people play it, just get other people to play it and just get feedback from them. Yeah, give streamers keys. Those are pretty big. Opening your game up for alpha / beta testing. Basically trying to get the minimum viable product out like as quickly as you can, and just having people play that. A lot of people do get stuck in alpha forever. So definitely trying to, make sure that this is the alpha, and then when you're done, you make sure that you can get to the point where it's reasonable. You can get to beta, and then whatever full release, all that stuff like that, and extra updates. Don't stay in alpha for too long, otherwise people will forget about you. Yeah. I sent my game to Alpha Beta Gamer. That's a really good YouTube channel that they do let's plays of really small indie devs. Those are for I think they don't really take in anybody, but alpha equals early. So alpha early access is kind of grouped together with both alpha and beta, I guess, just basically before full release. But alpha is basically just the game's still not like finished, like the core part of it is still really mushy, so you can't it's not like finished. And beta is just more, this is kind of what it looks like, but there's probably going to still be bugs and stuff like that. Also sending your game to media outlets like press and stuff like that. If you think like your game doesn't want to if you don't think people are going to write articles about your game, there's probably someone out there who probably would if they're interested in it. So like there's lots of people who are specifically interested in roguelikes or whatever, or first person shooters. Yeah, early access it's not really like early alpha. Probably like later alpha, beta ish, but like just like before release, maybe like a little bit before release. So yeah, this will be you right here one day. I believe in all of you. You will all be right here. All right, make a trailer. Making a trailer is great for when you're about to release your game, or if you want to make like a teaser trailer, especially for when you're doing game jams. There's some quick pro tips for making a trailer. Hooking in the audience in the first 5 seconds or for the first couple seconds is pretty important. because you're going to be wanting to. If you don't hook them in those first couple of seconds, they're not going to bother watching the rest of the video. Showing off gameplay, story, music, etc. Yeah, just make sure all of that is kind of balanced. One thing that I've noticed a lot of trailers do is they kind of have like a build up towards like the end, and then it shows the title and all this stuff at the very very end. But it kind of like builds up sort of like an actual story structure where you're going to play a roller coaster, stuff like that. Keep it between 60-90 seconds. If you have it under 60, you're probably not going to be able to get enough in there to tell people about your game, and over that, you're just wasting people's time. So just between that time period is pretty good. And don't put the logo at the beginning. Just don't do this. Don't wait until they're. Yeah, exactly. Put the title at the end. You can do like the title and then like a release date or whatever, or like a download link where you can get to it. Don't wait until they lose their attention to show the title. Don't show the title so long as they lose. Yeah. I would love to have a trailer competition here. If you want to make a trailer competition, yeah, we're going to be doing trailers as a part of Game Jam. So that will be the thing that you do. Stay in touch with your fan base. This is probably for more like when you actually get to the point where you have somewhat of a following. And by fan base, I don't really mean like thousands of people, like basically just anybody who's interested in your game. Making a Discord/community for your game. When you have to the point where you have a lot of people who are interested in it, having a way to talk to people who are interested in your game, to giving them updates and stuff like what's going on, that definitely helps with marketing in a way, because more people who are in your community, they will tell other people about like, hey, check out this cool little game I found. I want you to play it. So basically having players market for you in that regard. Respond to bug reports, suggestions, and feedback. Letting the players know that you are active in your own community definitely helps out with with marketing in a way. So it lets you know that if you're still working on the game, or you're letting them know that you care about the players and stuff like that. All right, common marketing mistakes. There are a lot of good ways. I have seen a lot of like articles and stuff like that about like good ways to market games, but I haven't really seen a lot about how not to market a game. So first one is telling, not showing. I kind of said this earlier, but just keeping it short and sweet. Don't really over explain what you're doing. Just kind of just show them what you're working on instead of just telling them, like stuff like that. Overuse of buzzwords. I see that a lot where you're using buzzwords to basically just reel people in, and like it just feels really cheap in my opinion. So just don't add a bunch of like unnecessary descriptions to your game that just are not good. Just don't do that. Showcasing code/early prototypes. With showcasing code, don't do that unless you're like making yourself code, because nobody really wants to see that. And early prototypes, like when you're adding like screenshots of your game to like a store page or something like that, don't add stuff that's like early on or whatever. It's like a bunch of boxes moving around. You definitely want to showcase the most important stuff that's like later on in development, stuff like that. Being secretive. Don't be like, oh, this is my secret project, because big companies can get away with doing stuff like that with Pokemon or Smash, but you're a small indie dev, no one's really going to care, so just don't do that. Overconfidence. Yeah, just don't be cocky, basically. If people actually put alpha footage screenshots up to show off the final product, you can do alpha footage and screenshots. Yeah, just don't use that to advertise your game. You can do that when like if people are interested in your game and they want what's behind what's under the hood and stuff like that, then yeah, you can show at like that, but like not in like a trailer or anything or your store page. Last one, dismissing criticism. When I know that I've seen a lot of game developers who are, when people criticize their game, they're like, "Oh, stop making fun of my game." There's one game developer in particular that I'm not going to mention, but just in general, just when people criticize your game, don't see it as like they're trying to take it down or whatever, and that makes you look really bad, and that's like the opposite of marketing yourself. Just don't make yourself look like don't be a wet sandwich about it. If people don't like your game, just deal with it. You're not gonna be able to appeal to everybody. Alrighty. Pro tips. Alright. So hashtag screenshot Saturday. This is probably like my biggest tip that I can give to new people. If you're on Twitter, hashtag screenshot Saturday. If you put that in like a tweet with a progress update, that's like kind of the meta. No Polish people. Yeah, posting a screenshot Saturday. A lot of people do that. Just you should do that as well. Prioritize the best parts of your game. I think I've said this before, but when do you want to show off your stuff? Make sure you show off the things that make your game shine, and not like all the nitty gritty small detail stuff. When you want to if your game is good on combat, show off the combat. If it has a good story, show off the story. If it has good music, show off the music. That's the kind of stuff you want to prioritize. Know who you're marketing towards. You can't appeal to everybody with your game. Like, don't make a kid's game for adults or an adult's game for kids, or don't make a horror game that's also like a visual novel and all this other stuff. Make sure you know who your target audience is and appeal towards them. Wizard 101 though. That's one of those things that's more of a nostalgia thing than rather like it's a game marketed as kids, but adults play it because they played it as kids. Polish. Make sure your game looks nice when you are showing it off. My soul yearns for Super Sponge. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with not showing off early prototypes. Make sure the game looks nice when showing it off. Don't succumb to imposter syndrome. This is kind of something that I've seen a lot of people struggle with. When you're showing off your game, people are going to be better than you, and that's kind of like a harsh reality that kind of sets in. It's like, damn, people are a lot better. People's games look a lot better than mine, and that can, yeah, it sucks, but you kind of have to get over it and just kind of deal with it. But it happens to literally everybody. Like every little indie dev that I've talked to, they're like, "Oh man, my game sucks." So, and that everyone starts somewhere. So everyone's on their own little path, and they go at different speeds and stuff like that. So don't let that get in the way of showing people what your game is and what you're working on. It will be an obstacle, but it is important. And make your game store page gorgeous. I've seen a lot of good games that have bad store pages and probably didn't get as much attention as they probably hoped, because the page just is ugly. But yeah, because that's going to be the first thing that people see, and not by just like art and stuff like that, but like text wise, like making the info nice and formatted, and keeping all the important stuff at the top, and you can get all the details at the bottom. Itch has a lot of personalization as far as store pages go, so definitely use that to your advantage if you can. Bad game with good marketing will sell better. Yeah, that's true. Is finding your target like throwing darts? Just post a bunch and see where it gets most attention. Yes, in a way. Yeah, you kind of have to find whatever you're comfortable with, and a lot of people like Definitely, one thing that would recommend as a smaller dev is make a lot of smaller things first instead of like starting off with a really big project. Because if you have a lot of smaller things, then you're throwing a lot of darts, and that will give you like a lot of a lot of chances to find something that you're comfortable with. What hashtags would you recommend for people tracking? But yeah, hashtag screenshot Saturday, hashtag screenshot Sunday, hashtag WIP Wednesday are things that I see a lot. But things like hashtag indie dev, game dev, pixel art. Actually I see a lot of people on Twitter who use like I think it's like the Japanese word for game dev, and I think that's what they use to get like the Japanese folks' attentions and stuff like that. So you have to use another language to appeal to your audience. Do that. That's kind of what I see. So yeah, that's all I have to show off. Yes, thank you all for showing up. It's not a super interesting meeting because we're talking about marketing, but glad you guys came. Should buy Fallout 4.